Okay. Hello and good afternoon to all of you. Today we have scheduled one webinar based on the ERP, a business tool, introduction and its application. So our webinar speaker is Mr. H.N. Jory, and definitely I would like to introduce the Mr. H.N. Jory, and definitely I would like to give some brief introduction about the Mr. H.N. Jory. That Mr. H.N. Jory is ex-vice president of Reliance Industries Limited, and he has a 37 year he has a experience of 37 year, and he Mr. Jory were also member of the core team which implemented FAP in Reliance occupied plant, and his specialization is instrumentation and control. So now I will hand over to the HN Jory. Okay, sir, you can continue.
Yeah. Thank you, Jitan bhai. Thank you very much.
Okay.
And
Okay.
good afternoon, friends. Welcome to this session of webinar. We will be having this 1 hour journey where we will try to have a look into ERP. As the name stands, it's a kind of slightly new subject, not being very extensively taught in the curriculum, but it's very important part of the current business management. We would like to go through what is ERP. So the agenda of the today's thing will be introduction to ERP, and then various ERP vendors, including SAP being the vendor with the maximum market control. So SAP is one of the ERP vendor. We'll be concentrating on SAP. So introduction to SAP, then navigations through SAP, various screens, its various applications, understanding various applications of it, how the data extractions and related exercises. We will be going into it. So let's understand what is the ERP. And as I have used the word business, it's helpful to business. So what this business and ERP, these have come of late in last 20 years and so. Was it that business was not in place before that ERP was there? Business was working. There were people who were unknowingly working on some of these concepts, which has been conceptualized and grouped together to make it more user friendly and automated. So we'll just have a peep into what was the kind of business which was there without ERP in the past. Let's take this example, which is portrayed on the screen. So you have a customer. He wants to buy a car. So what he does, he will put a call to a sales guy from the car segment people, and he would put his inquiry that I want to go for a car. These are my specifications. Subsequently, based on this, the marketing guy from the car will check to their inventory person what kind of various models are available or when they can be made available, and also who is going to be the next future of this. Are they going to be in these models going to continue, or they are going to be stopped? So any other model is available. So based on the production planning and inventory, he will take back and he will call back to customer, say that yes, this kind of model is available. Customer puts his order for the car, say he wants a X make car. Then that goes into the production planning schedule of the company. Company will go for its purchase of raw material through a purchasing department, and then based on all inputs are available, they will make a car, and then it will be sent to the customer. That's how the whole business works. It used to work that same way earlier also, now also. But then what is the difference? We will see it little later. Let's add some more business process in this. Now it becomes more complicated. So he says, okay, I want to check the cost and I want to compare various models. Also, I want to know that what kind of finance is available. Now these are the customer who is interested in looking for what are the various options available to him. What is his various options being given by various car manufacturers. So now things become more complex. So then he will go to the go different vendors. Different vendors will go to their different their shop floors, their inventory. Also, they will check to their finance that what kind of offer we can give to the customer, and accordingly, based on that, the things will become more clear to the customer. But in the process, the process becomes more elaborate, and in other words, confusion. So business without ARP means he is now stuck up. Okay, whether I should go for X or I should go for Y. X will say that I have offered X kind of offers. Y will say second, and I can give you in maybe in 3 months. Another says maybe in 6 months. They are not sure when they can give. Their feedback system is not proper. So customer is stuck. What should I do? So overall picture is that when any business model goes, various departments of the company comes into picture, whether it's sales, then finance, inventory, production planning, shop floor, purchasing, etc. So all they are interrelated and they are interdependent. Anywhere, any problem in one of the department is going to create a problem to a customer through the sales. So then comes a point why we should have an enterprise and what is the kind of enterprise structure we are looking for. So basically, enterprise has three different things: time, money, and resources. So enterprise integrates time, money, and resources. You have inconsistencies in duplication of data if the data is not available. Timely information is not given when customer is asking, okay, what is the kind, I am comparing with another vendor and he's offering me X discount. What kind of discount you can offer? If you are not directly linked to your customer sale or finance and others, you will not be, the sales will not be able to immediately reply, and in the process, he can lose the order. So timely information is the key to the business today. This requires central and enterprise connections, and businesses are being centrally controlled and looking to the various inputs into it. So it's a kind of a jigsaw structure as shown here. So you have a different departments being interlinked, and once they are linked in a proper way, it becomes a good picture. Otherwise, they're all loose identities as being shown here. Marketing, shop, they're all intergrouped to make it one identity. So let's talk enterprise architecture. What are the benefits of it? It eliminates the duplication, discontinuity, and redundancy in data. So two persons, there may be two or three sales rep of a company. They are not interlinked, so each of them are offering different methods and different data to the customer. So customer is confused. What is the correct one? So it generates duplication. So with the enterprise architecture, where everything is common, what are the offers are common, offers are same, offers are available to all the agents throughout the region. So they are offering the same, no duplication, no redundancy in data. If I'm asked one information, I'm only giving that information, not the other information. Increase the return on investment made on IT implementation. It delivers quality information and design for the enterprise as a whole, faster and cheaper. It is very important. Why? Because timely information and correct information, which is not duplicate, and which is looking into the entire enterprise as a whole. Now, one dealer in Baroda is offering one discounts. Another dealer in Ahmedabad or Surat is offering another one. So customer gets distracted. So he would like to go instead of Baroda to Surat if he's getting a better discount there. If it's a different idea and they are not centrally controlled, each this sales fellow may be offering a different options. So he is not able to satisfy the partners, the customers. Also, this reduces the requirement of the manpower. So now coming to ERMS, that is Enterprise Resource Management Structure. It is based on the enterprise relationship management system, which are the backbones of the modern day industries. In the previous slide, we have seen that the various departments which come into picture includes finance, production, sales, logistics, shop floor, statutory compliance, human resources, inventory, sales, etc. So they all are interlinked to make one product and to make customer satisfied. If these are not properly linked, this organization is not going to sustain. So how that question comes when with the different departments, different and fast moving data coming in, global data now being the requirement of the day, what can make it so that your data is available, your information is available at the fingertips? It's an ERP. So as the name suggests, ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. What do you mean? Enterprise is the organization. Resources are time management and what we have seen, and the planning of these resources to make it an efficient enterprise is done through an ERP. So, what are the enterprise resource planning systems? It is an incredibly large extended software package used to manage a firm's business processes. As the name defines, it's like some software which interlinks all the departments of the organization, be it finance, be it material, be it production, be it inventory, shop floor, etc. And depending on the each other's dependency, they will come out with one single output, and that is the one which manages the firm. So incredibly large extensive software package, it manages firm's business processes. So it has a database programs with the input, storage, manipulation, and out. It is nothing but a kind of a computer. Obviously, the same portions of the computer where you have an input device, you have a storage devices, you have a calculations, manipulations, and the logics, and then output which goes to the. Now, looking since this is an IT-driven system, we would like to see what is the remote IT environment today as compared to what was earlier. We are much ahead. We have a web available, we have apps, we have local users, mobile users, remote offices available, partnership customers, suppliers available. So we have a different hardware platforms, different applications. We can manage or unmanage machines. Applications are installed in the package, applications are distributed, and OS and applications are patching up. So these are the state of an IT environment today. So whatever system we are offering ERP, that should be in condition to take care of in the IT environment today. Today's and also with the this creates some kind of complex problems in the sense that some user wants it on the mobile, another wants it in the remote usage, one wants on the local user, another wants in a partnership. So you want and different applications. So all of them, they want their application compatibility. Then target machines are different. The different manufacturers, different vendors, different support of offline applications are limited. You have frequent application updates. Efficient use of IT resources are available made, and efficient use of computing power. So all these problems make it the requirement really complex. To satisfy all these, this enterprise resource planning, as we said, is a one software package, and some of the leading vendors of SAP, as the name suggests here, ERP are SAP, BON, JD Edward, Access, Siebel, Oracle, Ramco, Microsoft Navision, PeopleSoft. These are the few. There are many more, but out of this, SAP is the one which almost covers 70 to 80% of the market, ERP market. So it's one of the major player, and SAP has become a kind of a household name. ERP, very less people will talk about ERP. They will say, "I want to join SAP. I want to have a SAP." So now let's come to SAP. What is the full form of SAP? System applications and products in data processing. Basically, this is a German word. Systeme Anwendungen, Produkte in der Datenverarbeitung. That is the system application and products and data processing. So this name is very long. System application and data products and data processing. Basically, SAP is a very well known and very frequently used. People won't even remember these long words, but SAP is one which is quite remembered. Let's go into the history of SAP, system application product data processing. It was started in German Einthoven product in 1972, and by Hop, Hector, Planter, and Tishra. It was renamed in 1977. SAP is the name of the company as well as the ERP product. So, in fact, the ERP product, which was SAP, so company itself has been named as SAP company, and worldwide it is known as SAP. SAP system comprises of number of fully integrated modules, which covers virtually every aspect of the business. And there are three systems, R1, R2, and R3. We'll go into details in the next few slides. As I was telling, that in the ERP market, SAP has got a major share. As per the 2013 worldwide ERP software market share, 24% is covered by SAP, 12% by Oracle, 6% by Sage, Inform by 6, others 37%. All small players like Microsoft, Kronos, Concur, IBM, Torvalds, and they are there. So one of the major player becomes SAP. This is as per 2013 data. And as per the market share in India and data of 2012, SAP is almost 47% market share it controls. Oracle controls 17%, Microsoft 11%. All smaller ones, JDA, IBM, Info, and Sage are the smaller ones, and others are 19. This is as per the 2012 data. Now let's go into the SAP R3 Enterprise. What you say in this slide is the various modules. These modules are the modules which are connected to one or the another department of the enterprise. Say, for example, financial accounting and CO cost controlling. These are related to finance. Human resource. This is related to HR. Quality management. This is related to the quality part of it. PS. This is the project systems related to project management. PM. It's a plant maintenance module. MM is a materials maintenance module where all the procurement and other activities are. PP is the production planning. SD is sales and distribution module. AM is the asset management. And they are all connected in one galaxy of workflow. That is how this SAP R3 enterprise structure it works. They're all interconnected. So these modules, they get their data from Oracle, DB2 or MS2, can use number of database programs, and they store the actual data into that. Basically, three-tier client server architecture is there. So you have a SAP R3 architecture. It is based on the three-tier client server. We have a presentation server, we have an application server, and database. There is a client and there is a server. So in server will be of three: presentation, application, and database. And then there will be a client which are who gives the input and outputs. Dedicated servers are linked to communication network, performs tasks without sacrificing any data integration, and processes within the system as a whole. So you have a blow-up diagram of the configuration of R3 system. We have a database application presentation. This is given to the PCs. You have a database, server, and presentation, and internet to world in a world. So in a centralized system, you will have one central computer system which takes care of all the database input and outputs. In a two-tier configuration, you have a server and the PCs. In the three-tier configuration, you will have a client, server, and database. So these three are connected. In a central RC configuration, one host is responsible for all processing data. Host is here. And how the flow goes from input and output, from presentation it goes to application, and from application it goes to central database, and vice versa. So input and output is on from the data, it is to the users, and user to data both ways. The read and written into database, and processing of data using application and logics, and here presentation of the data to the user finally back. So input is given here, it goes to Axis, processes, uses applications, and then presents database. So this is how the whole path is getting completed. In other words, you can see there is a database here. We have a work process dispatchers in between, which takes talks to different terminals, and there is a SAP guy. Guy is the user interface, and in between you will have a memory and buffers to store the data for in and out. As we have seen in the three-tier structure, you have a database server, you have an application server, and you have a presentation server. In a two-tier configuration, you will have only PCs and the application server. This is normally used only in training configuration of the system. We have seen the database is IDBMS database, application servers and clients is the presentation. This is the presentation layer, this is the application layer, and this is the database layer. So you will have various user PCs through application server, they are connected to database server, and from database server they are connected to the application server and back. So this is how the whole three-tier configuration, client and server. User is a client, and here is a server, client and server configuration architecture. Again, this is a two-layer, three-layer, and multi-layer configuration, how it works. Presentation and application layer are different. In two-tier, in three-tier, it is all the presentation, application, and database are different. Now, comparison of SAP versus MS Office. SAP, nothing is saved on your PC. Only things are saved in the central database, and your PC is only the in and out for the what is being shown, and this is at the central server. In Windows application, you save often, so you don't lose everything when you get the blue screen on that. So in this case, when a Windows application you are doing, everything is getting saved in the back. So even if the screen gets blank, nothing is lost. It gets saved automatically. Similarly, Windows versus SAP. SAP, there are very few delete options. You won't have any delete option in SAP. So now say for below material, you will have create, change, and display. You don't have a delete option here. So either you can create, or you can display, or you can change. You cannot delete it. So don't save things if you don't look 100% correct. Exit the transaction and start over again. This is one of the key things of SAP. While in Windows you can delete, in SAP you can't. Once you have entered the data, it remains there. It cannot be deleted. It can be changed, but it cannot be deleted. Client server overview of logic structure. You have a presentation server, application and data server is logic is here in the servers, and they are connected. So what does an R3 database contain? R3 database contains clients, customizing objects, repository objects, and global settings. So these are all interrelated to give you the final requirement and the logic what you want. So then becomes, we are talking of server and client. We have seen the different servers. Then comes the question, what is a client? A client is an autonomous unit in R3 system which regards to commercial law, organization, and data. Basically, he is a master user. He puts a query, he gets an answer. He tries to get an application, so transaction data and master data is entered through him. What is a client? It's a way to separate data in the system in some way, a separate database or a table entry. So it's in a SAP language, it's a one table entry by the client. So he enters one particular entry and then it goes into the system. So here you have a hardware, SAP system, client, You have a delivery client, production client, test client, training client. So these are the various client options available in SAP. We'll go. On the data types, we have a master data and transaction data. Master data is that which is relatively stable regarding the material, customer, vendor. These are the data which is being put and remains there for a long time till they are modified. Another is the transaction data. Transaction data is relatively temporary. The data is input to get certain output, and it changes with time, it changes with the query. Stored at various stages of business process. And this depends on the query, and at a different business processes and at different stages it changes. So it is a customer order, purchase order, production order, customer payments, etc. These are the transaction data. This change with time, but master data normally doesn't change with time unless it is changed for some reason. What is the transaction data? Transaction data is a flow down the river of time. So basically it's a flow. It changes with time. That's what is indicated here. So we will see ERP in a various steps, ERP system. Then it will have an overview, its organization structure, master data, then processing, and then advanced scenarios. So all these we will go into, but let us see. We have said that SAP helps in a business environment, and the business environment is complex. This slide explains the organization has to deal with various outside factors as well as inside factors. The government authorities, vendors, customers, environment, these are the outside factors which it is dealing with. Also, this is an example of a company, how internal organization. It will have input, output, manufacturing process. It will have a material master, so material department, basic data, pricing, customer, vendor master, pricing, costing, etc. All these are interrelated in a company to give a desired output at the optimum price. So when we see in a broader perspective, an organization in ERP looks like it has got a finance department, purchasing department, production planning, project, sales and distribution, maintenance, and HR. They're all interrelated as well as related in a different angle, and they're also connected to various outside agencies like external environment, vendors, government, and the customer. So organization has to deal with all these in a immediate time frame, which is a very complex requirement. So let's see an overview. So here is a organization of this. So you have a company will have a maintenance plans, and under maintenance planning plan, they will have a maintenance plan. This is how the whole centralized and decentralized planning and the structure, or the structure of the company goes in the SRP. We will see in the details in the subsequent slides. So now comes to presentation and database servers. So presentation server is GUI server, workstation, and database server is interface between application server, which is IDBMS to database server, and hosts the vendor specific database server driver. So you have a work process where the dialog, updates, then background jobs, queues, gateways, messages, spools, all these are being connected to SAP dispatcher. So the various activities are going on in the process, and they are getting linked through this SAP dispatcher. In a simple SAP landscape, you will have basically 3 layers. You will have a development layer, you will have a testing layer, and then you will have a production layer. What is being done in development layer is all the applications based on the market requirement are being developed here. Before being served to the client directly, they are being extensively tested in the testing environment with application servers. And with various testing stages, once it is through, then it is being loaded onto production server and make live for users. So you will have a database, work processes, a dispatcher, and presentations. This is how we are. You have a hardware, operating systems, database, SAP guy, and languages. So we can say SAP is simplify everything, do anything. That is how this SAP name is given. So it simplifies the various jobs being done in the very complex organization, and it can do each and every and any job. SAP is a complete integration of entire business. So we have seen various modules. These are modules are related to various departments. We have seen in the past, your production planning department. This is a structure of SAP. Client server R3, ABF4 is the language. And the various modules are the modules connected to different departments of the organization. The materials management department. The materials management module is related to the materials department. Sales and distribution department related to the marketing. Production planning is related to the production department. Quality management, again related to the QC. Plant management related to the maintenance department, HR. So you have almost, and then SAP again is being divided and based on the application. The specialization happens. SAP for airspace, you have SAP for healthcare, media, public sector. So all organizations will have its SAP made to them for making it them so that they can serve to them basically. Now let's go into the navigation part of it. Logging on SAP GUI. So we'll be using this word GUI quite often. So GUI is nothing but a graphical user interface. And graphical user interface is whatever is happening in the SAP system is getting displayed on the PC. And this display is done through the GUI software, graphical user interface. It's a very RC system with the SAP GUI. You need a proprietary SAP GUI software. So a graphical user interface is a proprietary software of SAP. It has to be loaded in your system for you to be visible what is going on in SAP. So in this case, the screen, it looks like this. You have a SAP logon screen, description, logon. It has various like group, server, items, change item, delete items. So first you need to tell the SAP guy, that SAP user interface is which system you want to log in. So it has to be told which system you want to log in. So we say SAP server 5, and then it's application server and it's all settings, etc. is done. You have a tax description, you have address, router usually not required, ID, logical name of the system we give, system number, and systems RC system selected, which R3 or R2 system you want to select. So R3 is selected. So once we have selected SAP server 5, so that's the system now being followed. Guy has given you SAP server 5. Select the system. And now what you have to do is double click on this. The moment you double click, another screen like this comes. It has got a client, its username, password. So now you have to enter your client number, username, which is in the R3 account, and your password of that. It's all in English by default. So here, when you open first time, the default password comes. So after they log on and the default password, immediately the screen appears where you have to write a new password of your choice. There are certain rules and regulations for passwords, which is to be strong. And it's almost similar to the one being used now in various applications. And then it is a repeat password. So you confirm the password. On the first time logging into a new account, you will have changed the password. Try to remember your new password without writing it down. So basically, you are not supposed to give your SAP password to anybody else. The reason is it has got a lot of power in it, including the financial power and other related powers of the organization. If anybody has your own password and he can utilize it in your ID, all the transactions can be done. So for which the user is responsible. The moment you have entered the correct password, this screen SAP Easy Access comes with the menu and other details here, and success. So screen opens, SAP Easy Access. This is a master data entry or transaction data entry screen. Some of the basic rules of the password. You can use uppercase, lower and lowercase in your password. You can use any combination of A to Z or marks. You cannot begin with a password with some question mark or blank space. You cannot use three identical characters. Any sequence of three characters they are contained in your username are not allowed. Say example, username is Bill 99 Biller, then Bill is not allowed, so because that is being appearing in your username. Do not pass your, as was told earlier, do not pass your password to anybody else. Do not use any of your last 5 passwords. Basically, this password prompts you every month to change, and it's better always to change and do not change the last 5 passwords differently. Now, the main menu screen, which is displayed on the standard SAP is, you have a screen with the favorite SAP menu in which tree there you have Office, different applications. You have tools, information, human resource, accounting, logistics, Office, etc. So the default screen is the SAP Easy Access menu. We can switch from one menu to another by selecting appropriate icons. Here are different icons available. We will just see what are those icons. When we log on, you will see either user menu that is specific to your role or SAP standard menu. So these are the SAP. This will give you a standard menu, while this tab will give you the user menu. So your menu will change based on the, say for example, for Mr. Kagan back, the user menu, this will be some different from others, but the standard menu will remain same. The first top line is a where it contains a command field. It is standard toolbar where menu, edit, favorites, extra, system help, etc. are there. The SAP emblem is there. Then in between SAP Access, and then you have an application toolbar where all these applications, you have a user menu as we have seen in the past, user menu or standard menu, they're appearing, as well as all edit and change button are here available here. Sorry. SAP is a window-based system. We can navigate in SAP using buttons, toolbars, and windows. The same way we would like to make, like we are doing in Word or Excel. Now this becomes a navigation area. This is the title bar where SAP Easy Access is the title being given, shown. And at the bottom, you see the status bar. So whatever is happening is being shown here. The current transaction was reset. So the information gets logged down on the status bar. So now getting into the transactions. So what is a transaction? Let's understand. Transaction is a user to create, change, or display data or run a report in SAP. Basically, transaction is a command. It's a kind of action what a user wants from the SAP. So this is a very standard set of rules and definitions which are given to the requirement, and he uses those codes for as a transaction for and getting the desired results. So it's a basically create, change, or display data and run a report. This can be done in 3 different ways. You can put direct transaction in a command field. It can be put into your favorites. You can create your favorite in the favorite here, and different you can store here. So directly you can use what are the menus, or you can use in the SAP menus. No need to remember those transactions. All these transactions are readily available here. Nothing to remember. Everything is available here depending on your role and requirements. Let's take an example of command field. So requirement is ME51N is one of the transaction code. So this transaction code will be put here. Each transaction has a code. You can use the transaction code instead of menu bar to navigate the transaction. It can consist of letter, number, or combination. Type the transaction code in the command field and press enter on the keyboard or click the enter icon. Either you can enter here or you can press enter. Navigate to the transaction. Or what you can do, you can close the command field. You can open the command field and write it here. You can navigate using the user menu also. As we have seen, the ME51 is the requirement from the materials management module, and it is a requirement for creation of the purchase requisition. So in the previous slide, we have seen ME51, which was the code for creating a purchase requisition, was directly put, and the field comes in. In the navigation field, if you have not remembered ME51N, you need not worry. Go to your materials department, go to your purchase requisition, and go to your create. Automatically, that transaction code comes in. So the best part of the system is nothing is you have not to remember anything. All the codes are available within the system. Only you should be able to know which path you are following. So you should be clear that yes, you are looking for a materials management, you are going for a purchasing, you are going for a purchase requisition, and then you want to either create, change, or display. If you want to release, in a different case, you want some listing of these displays, you can have it here, some other. Same way, you can have outline agreements, a different one. You can have RFQ or quotations for a different. So the user menu contains a list of transactions. Some of these transactions are within folders. We can navigate this through the double clicking. So what you do is you double click these folders, automatically the transactions open. Sorry. Is there an easier way to navigate? Yes. Easier way is to put this, if you are using ME51N, for example, in your day-to-day work, no need to go through the very laborious transaction of clicking materials and procurement and all that. Directly put your ME51 in your favorite. Straight away you open this folder, daily work, and create directly ME51. So you are into ME51. Select the transaction from the menu path also. You have seen that from the menu bar in the easy access screen, select favorites, add to create shortcut to the transaction. You can create your shortcuts here. So you can add. What you can do is through menu bar, you go to add, and then you can CAT 3 is the time management sheet, same way. So whatever you want, you can do it here. So now we'll go into the other fields of the type of fields. Mandatory fields have a check mail. You have a check mail here. You have to enter some profile. Option fields are blank. When option fields are blank. Field with material code, drop coin icon allows searching or field entries. So here you have a match code where the options are available. You can get through. When you click here, you have various options available. Out of that, you can select. Standard toolbar icon. The standard toolbar appears on the screen, not just the easy access screen. If an icon is gray on the screen, it is not active and cannot be used. So if these are gray, for example, here, this is a save icon, but right now it is not active because you have not reached the stage of save. So whenever it is gray, it's not active. Only which are open are which are shown here like this. Meaning of an icon can change depending on which screen is located. So these icons also will change, be different to different application, different screens. Some of the other key icons, you will have enter icon, you have a save icon, back, exit, cancel, print, help, up, down, page down, etc. Enter, what is the enter? Enter is the confirms enter data, it does not save work. A command field used to enter command transaction code. Save is to save the work. Back is a return to the previous screen without saving the data. As it was told that we have not to save a data which we don't want. So if you have written a wrong data, and so the best way is to go back. If you return back to the previous screen, nothing is saved. But if you enter or save, then it gets saved and then you cannot delete it. So it is the best is to go back. You have a scroll button, you have a help button. You have a layout for menu. You can create another session. You can maximum create three sessions. You can print also the screens. You can cancel exit current task without saving data. If you want, you are doing and you are not sure about it, you want to cancel the task, you can create a task by canceling this. So moving from one transaction to another. Say for example, you were earlier at ME51N, and then now you want to go to another transaction for some reason. You, as we have seen in the previous slide, create another session through this star, and then hash slash, and then you can write n with the next transaction code. So the next screen comes into picture. So you must type slash n before the transaction code to move from one another transaction to another screen. So MIRO. Now you want to see what is the available materials into that. So MIRO. We have a different system messages available in the screen at the bottom, as we have seen. So you have an error message, you have an information message, and you have a warning messages. You have to train your eyes to look at the bottom of the screen for system messages. So whatever you are doing and what's happening here should be seen in the bottom. You must correct an error message. If the error message comes, basically it's an indication that there is a problem and you have to correct it before continuing. You must hit enter to proceed past a warning message. If it was a warning message with a yellow and then apostrophe, then indicate that is the problem data you have entered. You may have to correct the problem before continuing. But if you want to continue, you can still continue. It is not binding, but you have to. It just reminds you. An information message usually appears when you complete a transaction, such as giving you number, a purchase execution you just created. So one of the important of this is that you have created a notification, you have created a purchase order, you have created a requisition. A number which when it is saved, it appears here. And if you miss out, then you have to go and search into the system, which becomes slightly difficult unless you know the whole path of it. So it is better always to look into this and write this number. This number will be helpful to you for your subsequent paths. We have seen the creating of new sessions. New session is done through a button with a star. The session is like a window within SAP. Opening up a new session allows you to work on more than one thing at a time. You have a follow system, create session, or select the create session button from standard toolbar. This is standard toolbar, and you have a create session button here. You must have chosen the window guy, not the web guy for this one. So this you can only do from the window, not from the web. You can have to have a maximum 6 sessions can run simultaneously. You can also use start a new session with a dash O. If you have a backspace O, then you can have and the transaction code. So this will open into another session. So if you are not going through, you can go through this command field also. Backslash O and then your transaction. So this transaction opens in a new screen. Now you can, when the 2 or 3 or more screens are open, you can go between tap between one to another screen without losing the data. So something is happening in purchase requisition. You want to write a GL account in the purchase requisition. Go to the GL account screen, check, and you can come back and write it here. F1 is the help screen. So when you are not sure what is how that thing performs, you can take a help of standard to help bar, a help icon, yellow question mark on the standard toolbar. It's a yellow question mark. A pop-up box will appear that tells you what the field means, and this help message is different for different screens. So where you are in which screen, it will give you as per that screen. Say if you want to plan, use examples, etc. If you want to save your work before you end the session, menu bar, you can go back to end session. You can also go from create session and end session, or you can cross. So this also closes the session. and then subsequently you can go to log off. Log off is in the system, and system you have various options here: create session, end session, profiles, list, etc. At the end you have a log off. So before the logging off, it will ask us if the data will be lost. Do you want to log off? You have to say yes or no depending on your requirement, and then it will be logged off. Thank you, friends. I think I have almost covered fully in my thing.
Okay. So, sir, we are very thankful to you that you have delivered a great session on the ERP and its applications, enterprises, architecture, and all. And I hope everyone has enjoyed this session. If anyone have the query on this topic, then please feel free to ask to me
Yes,
via
yes.
mail, and I will forward it to the Mr. Jory, sir.
Yeah, you can forward and I'll be happy to answer if any, and you can contact me on my personal numbers also. No issues on that. I'll be happy to respond to that. Thank you very much.
We'll try to bring the solutions for your queries. And at the end, thank you very much, sir, and thank you to all the attendees.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thanks.
thank you, thank you, thank you very much, sir.